We begin one of the most beautiful sea journeys in the world in Bergen, an ancient seaport and trading town, where we will be passengers on Norway's Hurtigruten. The Bryggen district was once founded by the German Hanse and is one of Bergen's most famous landmarks. The picturesque houses that once belonged to German traders make this charming historical district look more like an open-air museum. Over the centuries, Hanseatic influence had determined both Bergen's economy and culture. Bergen's oldest church dates back to Hanse times. Many of the city's buildings indicate the former wealth of the traders, who once made a fortune trading codfish. Although Bergen has witnessed many devastating fires, the city centre is an historical treat. The splendid harbour promenade of Bryggen is the most popular tourist attraction of the Hanse town. Bergen's fish market lies close to the water, full of fresh seafood caught by local fishermen. Our boat has anchored in Bergen's harbour. The Ms Nordnorge is one of a new generation of ships that belong to the famous Hurtigruten Fleet and can take 700 passengers. After the boat has been loaded, our journey can begin. On board, passengers check in at the reception desk, just like an hotel. The Ms Nordnorge has 8 decks, each of which can be readily accessed via a glass elevator. The tastefully furnished lounges feature both Art Deco and Art Nouveau. The boat travels slowly along the Fjord that is famous for its beautiful scenery. The boat arrives in Bergen, where passengers continue the tour by bus. We are going to experience the legendary Trollstigen, a steep and spectacular mountain road that contains no less than 11 hairpin bends. Bad weather is not unusual here. Rain, fog and snow give this mountain landscape a mysterious atmosphere. The road travels up and down. To negotiate the region's various fjords, ferry boats are a common sight. Small canyons with massive creeks make good places to stop, and our driver has a story to tell of each one. We take a short break in Nidelv. The landscape here is covered with snow for almost the entire year. At Trollstigen, there's an impressive waterfall. And another ferry awaits us. In Molde, a pretty town on the northern edge of the Tromsdalsfjord, We return to the boat and our sea journey continues. Fishing and the export of dried fish have always been the main source of income for the inhabitants of the harbour town of Molde. The journey on the Hurtigruten travels along the Norwegian coast in a northerly direction. Unlike the first sailing ships of the Hurtigruten Fleet that were in use more than a century ago, the large modern ships of today are fitted with the latest technology and steered only by a joystick. At the mouth of the Nidelv in the Trondheimsfjord is the third largest city in Norway, Trondheim, an important trading and administrative centre. At the beginning of the 13th century, Trondheim was a city of great influence and was also where the Norwegian kings of medieval times were crowned. Although the city gradually lost its political importance, it still contains several fascinating buildings. The subject of much transformation during its history, Trondheim's Nidarosdom is said to be the most splendid Gothic building in northern Europe. Close to the cathedral is the former residence of the Archbishop of Trondheim. It's open to the public and often features various exhibitions. In the city centre, numerous squares and monuments highlight Trondheim's colourful history. However, we are short of time and must return to our boat. The Hurtigruten awaits us in the harbour. From Trondheim, the ship travels the century-old historic route north into Norway's most remote regions. Various modern bridges catch the eye, but soon the settlements become smaller and smaller, and the landscape becomes increasingly beautiful. With the introduction of the Hurtigruten mail ships in 1893, a new era began for the inhabitants of the coast, as frequent maritime traffic improved the lifestyle of the population. The small town of Råvik, that consists of a tiny harbour and just a few houses, also benefits from sea traffic. The faster and more efficient mode of transport has boosted the local economy. Further north of Råvik, our boat crosses an invisible but legendary line, the Polar Circle. We encounter another ship of the Hurtigruten Fleet. In Hollandsfjorden, several of the passengers transfer to smaller boats. The journey travels a few kilometers inland to a unique attraction. The Svartisen is not only the second largest glacier in Norway, it's also a special feature of the Hurtigruten tour. The Engebrin Glacier almost reaches the Hollandsfjord. Svartisvatn Lake is situated beneath the Svartisen. In summer, it's a popular tourist destination. From here, our journey continues by bus, a hint of bygone times. we travel along remote roads and through isolated villages. For some years, the ice of the Svartesand Glacier has been receding, and this is often quite noticeable. The journey to the town of Bodø is fascinating, and in summer Nordic plants fill the surroundings with colour and life. The road travels along the coast until we reach the more populated region of Bodø. We reboard our boat in Bodø. It leaves the Norwegian coast and travels out to the open sea. Four and a half hours later, we arrive at the Lofoten, a fairy tale group of islands in the North Atlantic. When the weather is fine, we relax on deck, take in the fresh air and sunbathe while the ship glides through the water. The journey on the modern Hurtigruten boat is like a cruise. It's certainly a relaxing way to travel. The beauty of both sea and sky is only surpassed by the remarkable landscape of the Lofoten Islands. Stamsund is the first Lofoten harbour that we will visit. Unlike many other villages located in the Lofoten, it still enjoys a profitable fishing industry. Stamsund also features the Råbua, the traditional boat and fishermen's huts that are found throughout the Lofoten Islands. The simple huts reflect romantically in the water. The Råbua are an intriguing sight. The Hurtigruten mailboat leaves Stamsund harbour. The Lofoten Islands look like huge mountains that rise up from the North Sea, majestic, impressive, and full of mystique. The Lofoten's marvellous landscape and many captivating villages, such as Nusfjord, attract tourists from all over the world. The small village of Nusfjord is famous due to its spectacular location and amazing backdrop of mountain scenery. The region's steep mountain peaks are up to 1,000 meters above sea level, a unique mountain landscape surrounded by sea. Due to their remoteness, the islands remain unspoiled, and their rural character is typical of the islands. Svolvær is the administrative centre of the islands, and with 4,000 inhabitants, it is also the Lofoten's largest town. No hustle and bustle here. Life is tranquil. In Svolvær harbour, we transfer to another boat of the Hurtigruten Fleet. Now we're on board the Ms Polaris. Its name is derived from the phenomenon of the northern lights that can be observed in this region. From Svolvær, our journey continues through the narrow Trolsfjord that is surrounded by high mountains and is well known due to the Hurtigruters that travel through it. The scenery indicates why the Vikings referred to the Lofoten as the Islands of the Gods. A special and particularly memorable experience is the sight of the midnight sun, followed by a celebration dance. The light that shines on the surrounding mountains is really quite outstanding. Summer nights here are never completely dark. Situated in the north of Norway, Harstad was founded at the beginning of the 20th century and today has a population of around 20,000. A stroll through the relatively young town of Harstad reveals its calm and peaceful character. In Harstad harbour, the Midnattssol lies at anchor. It's the newest and largest ship of the Hurtigruten Fleet. At this time of day, it's always busy here. Another ferry arrives at the quay as our ship leaves the harbour. Next, an important ceremony. The Polar Circle baptism is an important event on any Hurtigruten trip. This traditional event is accompanied with much humour. Finally, it's possible to be photographed with the god of the sea. Soon the ceremony draws to a close and nature once again becomes our main focus of attention. We travel past forest and snow-covered mountains. For those who prefer to remain below deck, there are several comfortable salons. Comfort is a matter of course on this luxurious boat. The next stop of our journey on the mail ship is Finnsnes harbour. Cargo is offloaded and loaded. The Hurtigruten ships play an important role in the transport of goods to and from Norway's northern regions. After a stop in Finnsnes, the shortest on our journey so far, our journey continues into the north. The boat passes a splendid bridge. Due to its location in the extreme north of Norway, Tromso, the capital of Nordnorge, is known as the gateway to the ice sea and also the gateway to the Arctic. It has a population of 60,000 inhabitants and is located on an island. Since it was consecrated in 1965, the architecturally beautiful Eismere Cathedral has been one of Tromso's main landmarks. A visit to the Polar Museum is a must. It features the history of whale hunting that was once of much commercial importance in this region, and also the history of navigation. The exhibits are most interesting and evoke the daily life of bygone times. This town has always been important and is still the starting point of many expeditions to the North Pole. Polar explorers Fridtjof Nansen and Roald Amundsen set out from Tromso on their expedition to the North Pole. We continue north and pass beneath a 1,016-metre-long bridge that connects Tromso with the mainland. Early in the morning, our ship reaches Hammerfest, the world's northernmost town. Unfortunately, much of it was destroyed during the Second World War. Then rebuilt after 1945. Alas, the old town has been lost forever because of the war. Most of the buildings in Hammerfest are quite unassuming. Before the town was connected to the national road network, the harbour was the main focus of its commercial life. Hammerfest is almost the end of our fascinating journey on the Hurtigruten. However, the tour continues. Soon our journey will indeed be over. The various restaurants on the Hurtigruten boats satisfy most tastes, and the internet is also available. In Honningsvær, most of the passengers leave the ship. There's a bus trip to a famous geographical location. The bus travels into a dense fog. In this part of the world, bad weather is always a possibility. The North Cape has a really magical attraction. For many, this is the highlight of their journey on the mail ship. A 300-metre-high plateau towers up steeply from the icy sea. It's one of Norway's natural landmarks. Between the North Cape and the North Pole, there's a distance of some 2,100 kilometres. On our return journey, we make a short stop and meet the local Laplanders, the Sami, and also pick up a souvenir or two. Next, we arrive at our boat that is lying at anchor in Honningsvær harbour. The final leg of our journey has begun. On its way to Kirkenes, the mail ship stops at several small harbours. Kirkenes is not only the last Norwegian town before the Russian border, but also the end of the journey on the Hurtigruten boat. After our luggage is offloaded and the ship takes on further goods, we bid farewell to the Hurtigruten. A round trip through the historical town of Kirkenes marks the end of this wonderful journey through the fjords and coastal towns in the north of Norway. In the 20th century, Hurtigruten survived no less than 4 wars. However, it bears no battle scars today. The journey on the Hurtigruten line is rightly known as the most beautiful sea journey in the world, and one that travels into a land of history and legend.